So my name is Casey. This is a new perspective, and I am here with many fun people here. We have Brennan, Jen,
Yeah.
and Nino, who Jen will introduce here in a second. I think we have a pretty exciting show today,
I'm
and
excited.
I, Jen's excited. Brennan, are you excited?
It's always exciting.
You just showed up. We don't even know where you came from. No,
Oh.
just
Who
kidding.
are you anyway?
Yeah, who are you? No, this should be pretty exciting. So why don't we go ahead and just kind of kick it off because I'm still waiting to see if it's actually going to show up on LinkedIn or not. Jen,
Yeah.
do you want to go ahead and if you
Yes.
want to introduce yourself, you can, or if you want to just jump right into Nino,
Yeah,
you
I'll
can.
introduce myself just because I'm not a
Yeah,
regular here. So
yeah.
I was on, 6 weeks ago, chatting with Brennan. Actually, it's been
Yep.
probably been a couple months ago now,
Oh my
chatting
gosh.
with Brennan about ICC 2023. So if you guys watched that episode, then welcome back. I
Yeah.
work with Nino on my team. We call ourselves the Automnition team. Nino is a senior systems engineer on Flexware's Ignition team. He's been working in systems integration for 4 years and has been focused on developing industrial applications with Ignition by inductive automation during the length of his career. He is currently leading an enterprise project initiative to standardize all site-level HMI application using Flexware's Spark SCADA solution built on Ignition, and he also manages the development of Spark SCADA. He's passionate about digital transformation and has been a member of 4.0
Nice.
Solutions IIoT University for 3 years, which is
Wow.
awesome, by the way. When Nino is
Fancy.
not helping clients digitally transform, he enjoys spending time with his wife and 3 boys aged 1, 2, and 4. Welcome, Nino.
Oh my gosh. Welcome. Um, so it might not be working.
I,
Guys, I nailed that.
And
I,
I was gonna wait
I
for
know
you
you
to
did.
finish.
I was gonna say my friend who's looking at the chat. He just sent me. It's you can't see it.
Yeah, it says
It's
this
starting
event will
soon.
start soon. Wait for the host.
Oh, it started.
Is it
By that I
working on your
mean
end?
because we're here. No.
No.
Let me post on here.
Wonder if anyone can hear us.
Okay. I don't think so.
Oh
Can
look,
anyone
yeah.
Yeah,
Steven
now it's
says
live.
it's
Steven.
live.
Hi, Steven.
Steven, can you
Hi, Steven.
Steven, thank you so much. We appreciate you because it's not
Yeah,
showing at all over here.
What's up,
it's pretty
Steven?
Yeah,
awesome.
So
and
this
Yeah, we
is
Steven's note isn't showing up on LinkedIn for me. So
you know,
Mm.
this is tech, right? I don't know why it
yeah,
says
that's right.
pre-live. I wonder if
I
the
know.
time is wrong.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay. So
Yeah,
what's
we.
going on here?
Woohoo! It's
Oh,
live.
nice. I forgot that you can do that. I accidentally did that once during the first stream. I was like, whoops.
Dwayne says it's
12
All
working.
right.
minute.
We're
We've
getting in
had
some
2 other
highs.
people
It
corroborate
is
for it.
working. That's
Yeah.
look, we're you
We're live, but
Hi
it's not attached to the
Joshua.
event.
Hi you guys. Okay, well, if you guys can see us, that's great because I don't see anything.
All right.
Anyone here doesn't see anything, that's kind of
Okay, so via Flexware's
That's fine.
page. Okay, well, why don't we find that link and then
that's
share it on to the event?
so yeah, this is fun, but that's okay. That's what makes it
I'll
exciting.
work on doing that.
So Brennan, you do something. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
So while we're doing this, I guess we could while we're trying to make sure that everything is good, even though people are saying hello from Brazil, hello from the United States. I forgot where I
Yeah.
was. Arizona. Or we can't say where we're from because we're all remote.
Indiana, just outside Chicago.
Nice.
I'm in North
Brennan,
Carolina.
North Carolina. And
Yes.
Nino.
Nino, where are you at? You're in Louisiana, right?
South Louisiana, Cajun country.
So you got
So
the
all over the
pre-live,
place.
had to go to LinkedIn notifications, follow the link there. Okay, so
Okay.
maybe I shared the incorrect link. I didn't even get that. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully everyone heard Jen introduce Nino.
Yes.
Apologies for the technical difficulties. It happens, such is life.
It does.
If you did not, so we are going to be talking about ChatGPT and using it with Ignition. And
Yes.
what can we do? Are we for or against it? Is Skynet going to take over the entire world? It might. It might.
I think
No.
it's might be in the cards.
Well,
I'm
with
kidding.
your last
Although that
name,
I will say that is how some people make it seem, right? There's mixed
it is.
views out there about ChatGPT for sure.
There are. There are.
Definitely valid concerns.
Yeah.
So I guess, we could start off by saying, like, what do we think about it?
Yeah,
And
Casey,
then
what
we
do you
can
think
hear what
about it?
Nino thinks. I think it's cool. I
Yeah,
think it's super cool. Yeah, it's almost like your own little imaginary friend. No. Um, no, I think it's amazing because all the different things and like all the capabilities, like the possibilities and everything that you can do with it, literally endless. I mean, the sky is the limit, right?
yeah,
You could use it for something as simple as help me reorganize this recipe that my mom wrote 20 years ago, or hey, does this email sound mean or something like that,
yeah,
or to I mean little simple things all the way down to hey, help me plan a day trip, I want to go see the Grand Canyon, where should I stop, something like
yeah.
that, or actually using it for work, which I think is kind of why what we're here to talk about. And i'm
Yes.
I'm definitely for it, and I do actually I use it myself, but not to the extent of like Nino. He's like a
Yeah.
professional here.
Yeah.
But what
Yeah.
yeah, what about you, Jen, or even Brennan, both of you? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Brennan, you want to go ahead and take it?
Sure, sure. I don't know. I've kind of been bit by the Chat GPT bug, I'd have to say. I was pretty
Uh-oh.
skeptical at first because every once in a while people would say, "Hey, I asked Chat GPT to kick me out of script in Ignition," and they're like a little tweaking and it worked. And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, well,
Hmm.
I can kick out a script in Ignition too. Like, no problem. Like, what's this really gonna do?"
Sure.
And a couple
Yeah.
of times here, I've been working with some of our other team members, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive what it's capable of. So I was like, all right, I gotta get into this. This is gonna make me better. This is gonna be a tool for myself, my job, my career going forward. No way, it's not.
Yeah.
And I had my sights set high, so I'd get into this, start training it, and
Yeah.
say, no, I'm not making a GPT because that takes a good amount of
Effort.
material and data sets and effort, but just like 4.0
Yeah.
chat and be like, okay, I want you to take this set of tags that I have in this CSV and I want you to make my UDTs for me. And it's like, yeah, here you go, Brandon. I'm like, oh, that's no, never mind, never mind. And I'm like,
Take it
here's
back.
a tag,
Whoa,
here's
whoa,
a
whoa.
member of my UDT, make this go to this. It's like, okay. And I'm like, oh, close. Here, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
And then so it's kind of gotten better at that, but I've realized I need to take what I want it to be able to do and
Yeah.
feed it bite-sized pieces, and like it can take like three rungs of my messy rungs, where I started coding. Three lines of messy
Oh,
code,
take
It
a
can do
hint.
that too. It can
three
take the
lines of
wrong.
messy code, and it's like, this is how you
Man.
can do this with a lambda. And I'm like,
Mhm.
that's clean. All right, I like that.
Yeah.
So I'm using it kind of as a piecemeal to make
Nice.
things more efficient, or like, if I get
Mhm.
lost doing like a regex function or something, like I'm like, clean this up for me. It's like,
Oof.
here you go.
Yeah.
You're my friend.
Where was this when we did the build-a-thon a couple years
Yeah.
Right.
ago, right?
Seriously.
I was just thinking about that. If
I don't
I
think it was released yet.
Shh.
Yeah. End of
Yeah.
I think October, November 2022, ChatGPT was officially released, if I'm not mistaken. I
Yeah.
know that was about the
What
time where
year is
people
that?
were having to wait in line to get access to it. So I use it a little bit. I use
Mhm.
it to help me more personally than professionally.
Mhm.
And same thing, Brennan. Generally, when I'm trying to accomplish something, like on my personal maker project, for example, I feel like I've had better success kind of feeding it little snippets at a time and building to my larger kind of, what I'm trying to accomplish, as opposed to just saying, hey, spit this out for me. It doesn't seem to do a very good job when you just kind of jump to the end. So slow walking it for me, at least, has been a little bit easier. But I know
Mhm.
that like other people on our team, for example, they'll use it to like they'll write their script and then they'll give it to Chat GPT to comment. And then, it'll add your comments so you don't have to sit there and comment it. And then they'll take the comments and put it back in to Ignition.
That's a good
So
idea.
yeah, yeah. And I will say I don't pay for it. I know there's a paid model. I've only
Yeah.
used the free model, which is the older model. Because my
Mhm.
understanding, and I know you know way more about this than I do. The paid model is the 4.0 model, and I think the free model is the
Mhm.
3.5. Do I have that
Yeah, that's
right?
correct. Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And
Big
oh,
okay.
difference.
sorry. I'll let you know.
No,
I'll
you're
let you
fine.
finish first. I was just
I
gonna
was just
ask.
gonna say
So
I don't know the finer
yeah.
points of what the differences are. I have to admit.
Right. So I also use the free, though I believe I'm probably gonna at least try the paid for a little bit at
Yeah.
some point. So Jen uses the free version. Brennan, do you?
I pay for it. That was the bug that bit me. I was using
Okay, maybe I missed
The
that. I do
free for a
I'll
little
apologize.
pay
while.
for it bug.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't clarify. But yeah,
Oh, and like Josh said, it's
I've been
great for
dabbling
writing
for a long
tests.
time. But yeah.
Nice.
Oh, writing
Nice.
tests. I didn't even think about that. That is a great use for that. I'll
Yeah.
have to remember that.
Yeah, and just one more time, we want to thank everyone for coming in. I know we had a little technical difficulties in the beginning, but we really appreciate everyone that's here. If you want to say hi in the chat, that's awesome. Or if you want to let us know where you guys are joining from. I know we have someone from Brazil. I saw someone from Orange County. That's awesome. It's exciting. Go ahead and write it in, or what you guys use ChatGPT for.
Yeah, love
Or
to
if
find new
you,
uses for it.
yeah. And I feel like my explanation of what I did for it was terrible compared to Jen and Brennan's, but we're just gonna leave it. So do you, Brennan or Jen, do you have anything else to add, or should we see what Nino uses it for
I'm
before?
excited to hear what Nino has to say, to be honest. Like to
Yeah.
me, when I think about
Yeah,
ChatGPT, he is the intended audience. Like Nino knows what's up. So I'm excited to hear what he has to say.
he,
Ooh, setting
yeah,
the
from
expectations
South
too high.
Louisiana. Nice.
I like that.
You're
Yep, South
the
Louisiana,
Yeah, Nino's
I
from
get them so high up
Louisiana.
there, right? Yeah.
Lafayette.
There you are. There
Yeah.
you are.
Well, I want to start with letting y'all know thank y'all for having me, and thank you for
Yeah.
covering the topic. I think you know currently ChatGPT, for the most part, people are unaware of it and its capabilities.
Yeah.
And so, my intention with the examples that I'm going to showcase today, nothing spectacular, but hopefully, your audience can get some good ideas of
Yeah.
what it's capable of, and then
Yeah,
use it to solve their problems, right? Um,
Yeah.
absolutely.
and also I've been using it. I'm kind of like I try to stay ahead on the trends, right, with current
Hmm.
technology and whatnot. So right before ChatGPT came out, I was dabbling in like machine learning and whatnot, using scikit-learn Python libraries, and
Yeah.
then when ChatGPT came out, of course I jumped on that. So I've been using it since the 3.5 model when it first got released, so a little over a year now. Definitely not a
Okay.
prompt engineer, but and yeah, as you'll see when I go through these prompts, they're definitely not optimized. So that's a whole nother science behind it, uh, I'll show you how I've been using it and kind of just learning and whatnot, and how it's
Yeah.
really increased my production, my
Hmm.
productivity, incorporating into my workflow,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think it'll be beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, I'd love to see
Heck
it.
yeah.
One thing I was struck by when I started doing
Hmm.
research for ChatGPT is that it's actually a language model. I don't know why that was shocking to me. I never really thought about like what is ChatGPT,
Yeah,
other than like this really cool tool that can like make your life easier, but it's actually a language model.
yeah,
Um,
that's a
yeah,
good point to bring up. So the way I like to think about it, and I've heard it described like this before. It's a digital brain, and
yeah,
the two main components that make up this digital brain, you have the large language model, and then you have the textual data. And so when you put those two together, you get this digital brain, and that digital brain has capabilities. And the large language models, they're a type of deep learning model. And what's unique about those deep learning models is they kind of mimic the human brain. So they have these artificial neural networks, which are kind of
It's
responsible
fascinating.
yeah,
yeah, they're
Sorry.
responsible for the data learning, aspect, like the logic of the data learning in the model,
Hmm.
similarly to the neurons, neural pathways in our brains. Um,
Wow.
and so, like with the large language model, like two key characteristics. One, you have the it has the ability to understand the context. So the textual data that you train it on.
Hmm.
Uh, that's why it has language in the large language model, right? um, those models specialize on learning textual data, human written the text, right? Because
yeah,
it can learn the language patterns from that textual
Wow.
data and the structures, right? So you have that capability for understanding the context, and then you have the text generation. And so the text generation portion of it, that is, it takes the input, which is going to be the your question, right? And then it'll respond, to your question within the context of the data that it was trained on, right?
Yeah.
And the text generation, that's really interesting too, how it does that. When you're getting a response, it's actually using math, statistics, probability to predict each word and word by word the sequence that when it's responding. Um,
That's
so yeah,
crazy.
you can go down that rabbit hole too. It's the technology is really amazing. Everything you can do.
Yeah, yeah. I was reading too that the models are prone to bias, but
Yeah,
also hallucinations.
yeah.
Which, from what I caught
Really?
from the context,
Who
was
isn't?
it's. I mean, from what I was
Lack of
reading,
sleep.
hallucinations is essentially when the model states something as a
Yeah,
fact when
needs to go to
it's not
sleep.
a fact.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's right. So one of the
Hmm.
things, right? It's trained on like an enormous amount of data.
Hmm.
Pretty much think of just the internet of data, right? And so you'll get conflicting data, right? So
Sure.
one side says it's this way, one side says this way, and I know that's one aspect that I've heard like that can make it hallucinate, right, and give you incorrect information. But of course, right, like anything, you kind of have to have common sense as well, kind of
Sure.
research, right? Don't take it as
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
But so, all right, well,
Fascinating.
do we want me to start jumping into it?
Yeah. Let's jump into it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
You
Go ahead and
want
share
to,
my
let's see, you gotta,
screen.
yeah. I think it unshared.
Oh, sorry about that. I
Unshared? Is that
actually,
even a word?
It
It
is
is
Oh,
now.
now.
you're good. You're
Ask
good.
ChatGPT if it's a word. It'll tell you.
I
Eh.
just,
All
I
right,
just
there
reshared
it
it.
is. There we are.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
So what are
All
we
right.
looking at here, Nino?
Yeah. So here is OpenAI's ChatGPT, interface in the web,
Mhm.
and a little bit about kind of what we got going on here. You have uh, the recent feature that they released was the GPT store. And so what
Yeah.
one of the differences with the paid subscription, right?
Mhm.
20 bucks a month, you get access to being able to create custom GPTs, and the compared to the free version, you're using ChatGPT's 3.5, kind of the base model, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you get the paid subscription, you get access to ChatGPT, the 4 model, which is the latest one, and then you're also able to create your own GPTs. And this feature, which we'll get at the end of this. That's why I'm going to kind of get through the examples that I have pretty quickly. And at the end, we're
Mhm.
going to create our own GPT, and you can see what that looks like using the
Cool.
GPT builder. But
Nice.
GPT is a little bit about that. Is it's essentially ChatGPT with your added data. So you can attach documents, files to it, and then as you'll see, you get to influence the model or train it, right? And then that gives it kind of your more unique capabilities in the way that it responds to you, right? Compared
And
to the normal model.
Yeah.
yeah, and when you say you give it your data, so what does that mean? Like any data you give it, does it keep that data? What happens to that data? Is that held
Yeah.
privately? I'm just thinking long term concern. If you're using this for work, there's projects where we have to sign NDAs, things like that, where we're not supposed to share information.
Mhm.
So I'm curious to know. Okay, I give it data. What happens to my data? Right?
Yeah, and definitely don't quote me, but so check what I say.
Oh, you're
But
quoted.
they're
You're
not
quoting
supposed
now, yeah.
to. I don't think they're supposed to train on your data that you provided.
Okay.
But
Okay.
when you're making a GPT, a custom GPT, and if you do attach data to it, they do kind of warn you, or they say it somewhere that other people that are going to use, if other people, you make it public and other people are going to use that GPT on the
Mhm.
GPT store, um, they can get access to those documents or whatever data that you train it on, right?
So
I
As well.
see.
use common sense, right? I mean, don't
Yes.
don't be
But
putting your W-2s on there.
Yeah, don't give it IP.
No.
Yeah,
You don't
Well,
give it any IP stuff. Yeah.
well,
yeah.
let me say you can make you can make it don't have to make it public, right? And then there's
Right.
also this add teams workspace, which we can talk more about that kind of later, but
Yeah.
which I definitely want to dive into this. And you can create, this is kind of like a you can work with other people in this team's workspace and give access to all to those people your GPT, and then you can kind of work on it together and whatnot.
Ah, you can
Um,
crowdsource a GPT.
yeah, or
Right.
kind of the way I kind of think of it is like, say, like internal. We all use like Microsoft Teams Wiki to kind of
Mhm.
share information. Well, you have your kind of internal GPT, right? That you can all use and whatnot. And I definitely want to come back to that and talk about the use cases with this. I think it's
Definitely.
definitely a
Yeah.
awesome
I can
feature.
think of a couple.
Yep. I think, yeah, you're probably already ahead of me. You're
Yeah.
probably already ahead of me.
The cogs are turning.
Yeah. All right. So do we want me to just jump into it, kind of roll through these examples?
Yeah,
Yeah,
love to
do
see
it.
them.
Okay, cool. All right. So now that we're familiar with kind of the UI here, these are some custom GPTs that I've built.
Okay.
One that we're going to look at is this Ignition Perspective View Builder. Now, it definitely doesn't live up to the name, and this isn't a public one, right? This is just a side project that I have, but I do want to show this because it's like the potential is,
Yeah.
they have a
Yeah,
lot of potential with
for
this.
sure.
So with this GPT, kind of what it says here, try to focus it to be able to generate ignition JSON views from a description, right? And what I'm going to show you here
And just
is
in case anyone, sorry to interrupt, just in
yeah,
case
go ahead.
anyone in our audience maybe isn't familiar with Ignition Perspective, you can use JSON and copy it into a view so that you can use code to build out a view. So that's a perspective only thing. So if you're into vision or anything like that, this may not apply, but just to give some context onto what a perspective JSON view, what that means.
Yeah.
Oh, getting some delay here.
Uh-oh.
I don't know why it's starting to act
ChatGPT sleepy. Time for a
yeah.
nap.
I could go for a nap. No, that's okay. It knows we're watching it, so
Yeah.
just like a
So did you
toaster.
get it in an image there?
Yeah, and I'm going to show you that. It's going to pop up on here. We can look at it. So text generation, right? Yeah, that's cool, but from an image would it be even better, right? And surprisingly, it can do this.
And if I'm not mistaken, being able to interpret an image is specific to the 4.0 or the paid version,
It is.
right?
It
In the
is.
3.5 or the free version, we're text only, text in,
That's
text out.
That's right. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
Okay.
The computer vision capability that they integrated into
Mhm.
ChatGPT like mid last year,
Mhm.
that is only accessible with the paid version
Gotcha.
on the 4 model.
Yeah, and it looks like
All right.
and then
So
while you're pulling this up, I was gonna say it looks like for the free, yeah, it's unlimited messages, interactions, your history. You can do it on your phone, iOS, Android, web. That was redundant how I said that. But then, yeah, like on the 4, that's where they the additional tools like Dolly, which I was sad to see that they took away and put it in there,
Oh,
which is why I'm tempted to pay for it. Looks like it's what,
yeah.
$20 a month? So even
Yeah.
if you just did it a month, like that
Yeah.
would be a load of
yeah,
fun.
I think if you would just use it, start to use it in your workflow. I mean, especially as Ignition developers, you would
Yeah.
pay for it, and it would definitely pay off for you.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
and
no,
you
look at
put the
this.
subscription on that like oldest credit card you've ever had, just so that you keep it, active.
Brennan.
Help your credit
Oh my
history.
gosh.
Always thinking.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
funny.
Always
I mean, you
thinking.
might as well.
All right, Nino. So tell us what's going on here.
All right, so what we got here
Wow.
is I drew this nice picture, and I
That's
just put
nice.
box in here, hello world, and then I prompted this GPT, said, please create an ignition perspective JSON view using this image as a reference.
Do you
And
always say please and thank you? Like, are you always so kind to it?
I do. I've heard that,
I do too.
and
Really?
I don't know how true it is, but I've heard if you use manners, I guess, better manners, like, please and thank you and whatnot, you'll get
Yeah.
better responses, right? Better results.
Really?
One of those
That's really interesting. I
GPT
guess that
things.
goes back to its language model roots, right? You catch more
Yeah.
bees with honey.
Mhm. Could be. All
Yeah.
right. So
Now, if only we
what
did that to Siri and Google and Alexa.
Yeah, I lose my patience with Google. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
likewise.
I've called it a few names more than one time.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not proud of that. Same.
Weak moments, weak moments.
All right. So
Little
what I'm doing here is
Yeah.
I copied the JSON view that it gave us,
Okay.
or the JSON file, and then I'm gonna use our Control Shift to paste this view right here.
Mhm.
And let's see, we'll open up ChatGPT, this view. See, this is one of the errors that you might get. So it's using a ia.input.label, and this is not the correct one. So I'll show you.
Oh.
Yeah, sometimes you get that, but let's see if I can copy this. So this is the one I already created ahead of time. Let's see.
It's like a baking show or a cooking show where here's how you do it, but then here's this
Here it
beautiful
is.
finished dish.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is, yeah.
They do that for a reason.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you sit there for like 2 hours waiting for it.
So I'll just reprompt it.
Do you find you
recreate-
have to do that often? The reprompts.
And yeah, I'll get into that. Depends
Yeah.
on what it is, right? Because it's all like, what is the contextual data that it was trained on, right?
Mhm.
And it knows a lot, right, with Python 2.7 and Ignition in
Right.
general, but it hasn't, I'm pretty sure it hasn't been trained on actual Ignition JSON views, which is
Sure.
why you have to reprompt it and whatnot. But that's an interesting conversation that I do want to kind of get into.
Yeah, I find I have to do that often, is remind it, like, please use Python 2.7,
Interesting.
because sometimes it'll give you.
I mean, are you having to do
parts of
that
the
multiple
library.
times, or is it just like do it again,
Yeah,
but actually you do it correctly?
It'll remember for a while, but every
Interesting.
once in a while it surprises you, and you're like, "That's."
And when you say a while, are you talking a while in a unit of time, or are you talking a while as in a couple of chats?
I'd say a couple of chats in
Okay.
my
Okay.
experience. Not, I don't think time is relevant to it. I think how often you're interacting with it.
Interesting.
What does it do when you're not interacting with it? Does it sleep? Have dreams?
Is it listening?
I don't know if we're ready for this
Does it
deep of a
dream?
conversation.
I might be. I might want to ask it now. Do you dream?
Yeah, why don't you ask ChatGPT what kind of dreams it has?
Just zeros and ones, and then maybe there's a 2 in there, and it's just
Oh, it'll make something up good.
Look at it go.
So then once you
So cool.
reprompt it, it goes through and it gives you the whole code again. It's not like it just changes the one part that maybe was wrong or had needed a correction.
That's right. It's gonna give you a new response.
So
And,
speaking of that, what I've learned to do is, like, if I figure out what's going wrong with the code that it gave me or that I had it tweak, is I'll pull out that section. Like, I try to define a lot of functions when I'm using it,
Sure.
and then I'll pull that function out and be like, all right, here's your test cases, here's the inputs, fix your function so that it does this, instead of waiting
and
for it
that's
to add a lot of code, because it changes stuff. It'll if you have 4 functions, it'll change one of those functions when it didn't need to, and you're like,
Oh no.
Okay.
come on.
Yeah,
And-
I've heard if you give it hints like that, you'll get better results, right? You kind of lead it to what it needs to fix or
Yeah.
change
Interesting.
Shit.
better.
And
But
see,
yeah, this view now, so I pasted it in, right? And
Yeah.
here we go. Gave us our
at
hello
that.
world JSON view. And I mean, this is not very useful right now, but just to kind of display the kind of raw capability that it does have, right? You can do, upload an image, and then it'll spit you out a JSON view, and that you can then copy and paste into Ignition, right? I think and I can kind of just go on a little tangent about it right now. The potential that it has, right? So with these custom GPTs, you can train it on your own data sets. And so kind of a really particular use case, right? If you have like we have, Spark MES, and we have a Spark SCADA framework that our team works with.
Mhm.
If you would train a GPT with all of the Ignition JSON views, and as well as the thumbnails, right, that are in that folder,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think this could be a viable like option to uh, train it and then get like really good results in when you do like prompt it for the type of view that you would want to get.
Very interesting.
Yeah, what do you
And
think about that?
yeah, I guess, well, let me ask this question. Where would you rate its ability to create code accurately? Would you say it's better than an intern, but maybe not a junior programmer? Like where do you find you kind of anecdotally put its ability to create code?
That's a
Um,
great
v-
question.
yeah,
That is
very,
good. That's good.
very high. I mean, I think it's really there's two things, right? Okay, so we'll go back to like the contextual data that it's trained on.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So if it doesn't have the data that it needs for what you're asking it to do, then you're not going to get good results, right?
Sure.
Or what you're wanting. But then say it does have the contextual data, uh, then the way that you ask it, right, or you prompt it,
Mhm.
your methods, depending on the quality of that prompt, you might get better or worse results, right, from it. So
Sure.
that's the whole
Okay.
prompt engineering, why they're making 300K, I guess, right now,
Sure.
because it's still
I,
they're figuring out, how to like what is the best methods to prompt it, right, to ask
Yeah.
questions to get good results.
I I'd say
Mhm.
it's like a scatterbrained genius. Like it knows all the things, but it doesn't know how to put them together always.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
like
Sure.
it's almost like if you had a really smart intern that had 4.7 GPA, but couldn't walk down the street walking and
Couldn't
chewing
order a
gum at the same
pizza
time.
from Domino's or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Mhm.
no
Yeah.
common
I mean,
sense kind of a thing, you know.
yeah.
like
Interesting.
it's and when I think about like training these things, it's like I can look at an Excel spreadsheet, and then I can look at a set of tags or a PLC code, and because I've been doing it for 13 years, right? I can say this is a UDT. These things need to be brought in here. This maps to this,
Right.
and in my head, all puts that together. I know exactly what
Yeah.
what. Like when I
Yeah.
look at the raw stuff that we get from our clients to build a project, right?
Mhm.
I know in my head how that all needs to be put into ignition. I could do
Sure.
it with
Yep.
my eyes closed, but making it happen takes a lot of time. And when I think about it, I'm like, God, if AI had the knowledge that I had, and it has those things, it just doesn't know how to put the pieces together. You
Right.
know,
Right.
Yeah.
it's
Right.
like if
Yeah.
it did, what would I do?
Right. Yeah.
It's scary that I think it can get there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
I,
Getting into
I
the
do.
AGI conversation.
Yeah. I do see a lot of kind of promise, at least in using it like to supplement your weaknesses. So for example, I
Oh
think
yeah.
Joshua in our chat said it writes SQL queries like a boss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there
I'm
you go.
not
Yeah,
good
I've
at
used it
writing
for
SQL
that.
queries.
Mhm.
So I could totally see utilizing it, maybe not to do things I know how to do, but maybe to use it for things I don't know how to do,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? As
Mhm.
opposed to trying to
Yeah.
make my life
Educational tool.
easier, help fill in some
Yeah.
black boxes for me,
Yep.
you
Yeah.
know?
I'll tell you this.
Absolutely.
I since I started using ChatGPT, kind of over a year. I used to go to W3 schools all the
Yes.
Yeah.
time.
Oh
Hmm.
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah, very familiar.
I probably haven't went there in almost a year.
Oh,
ChatGPT
Wow.
is taking their work, but
poor
Take a moment
W3
of silence
schools.
for W3.
Yeah,
uh,
rip.
yeah, so that says something. Um,
You're clapping for GPT. I don't know.
so the this next example, I'll kind of rush through some of these. I know we're getting already
Sorry.
halfway through.
There's a
Um,
lot to talk about.
and
Yeah, too
I might
fun.
leave some out, and then so we can get to the GPT build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep. Whatever you want to do.
but so this one is just kind of an example of how you can use ChatGPT to optimize an existing ignition script, right? So here's one from our Spark SCADA. And this one, just a simple script. What do we got here? Name query, pulling in data from a SQL table so that we can, what do we have, like a location ID and a view path. And then we use it in one of our components to build out, like in Flex repeaters, right, to build out some visuals. So I just copied this, and I've left my comments in there. And then I'm going to go to this other GPT that I've been using. I've been using it for a while. This is probably the one I use the most.
And this is another one that you've created?
Yeah, this is a custom
trained?
GPT I created, and
Okay.
all the ones I've created, I haven't put a lot of effort into it. It's really mostly just with the GPT builder and just using the text prompts, right? That we'll get into later. But this one I kind of aimed it at SCADA and MES, specializing in SCADA and MES development with Ignition. So what I'll do is I'll paste in that code, and then I'll say, let me see, what is a good prompt that I used? Y'all can go ahead while I'm, if I got anything to say while I'm.
Yeah, I'm watching you type it in here.
Same.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
It really is.
Oh, it's getting delayed again. I don't know why.
I gotta say, I asked ChatGPT to design me a hypothetical database in SQL a little while ago, just to see what it would do. Like,
How'd that go?
It didn't do it how I would do it, but it worked. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a database expert by any means.
Right.
I've gotten better. I've always dabbled, but I've gotten better in the last couple of years. And I had that thought in my head, this is how I would do it. And then it did it. And it kicked me out the scripts and everything to create it. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But then, like, to use it a couple times, I had to be like, okay, how would I do this? I'm like, oh, all right, that works.
I wonder if it has the ability to like be sarcastic. Like, okay, so you asked for a hypothetical database, so it creates a database for you with, in your table, it literally just says hypothetical in it. Like, I'm curious to know, like, does it have a sense of humor?
What its
like, can it kind of screw around with you a little bit? Are we ever going to get to the point where it has? Yeah, exactly.
Table
with SQL on it. Here's your SQL table.
That's what you wanted.
Funny.
Well, and for those that haven't used it and who don't know, obviously, way at the very bottom, which it might be small in the stream, it does say like it can make mistakes. So obviously, you shouldn't use exactly what it says to be 100%. Do I want to say true or accurate or?
Yeah, it's not gospel, right?
Right.
No.
It's
It's a guide.
You have to
it's a Sherpa.
supervise it, really. You have to supervise it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess it's more of a toddler, a smart toddler in that way.
Yeah. It's like a parrot.
Needs a little guidance, parental guidance.
Exactly. Just needs to be shown the way. All right. So what has it done now that you put it?
So I'll
you put
go
this
with
code in.
the prompt, just a simple prompt, right? Please, I didn't even spell help me, but please help me, me optimize this Ignition 8.1.22 version script for optimal performance. And what it's doing now is it gives us kind of some pointers of how I think maybe how it's going to do that, or possible ways you could do that. And then it, oh, look at that. It got stuck on us. And it's showing the original one, and then wait, this version uses, however, the most significant improvements will likely come from optimizing the database query. Yeah, it stopped. Let me regenerate.
It has to just be because you're streaming it. I feel like because you were showing us the other day, and it was
sometimes
it was fine.
Sometimes it does that.
Maybe just a lot of users using it all at once, so it's kind of losing some horsepower because of all the users. So just another thing to be mindful of for somebody who's looking to use ChatGPT, that there's obviously limitations, right?
Of course.
It's not a perfect tool, and obviously the experience isn't perfect either, but it seems to at least be helpful.
Yeah,
for sure.
Could be the internet down here too.
Could be.
Down there in Louisiana.
That's
way
right.
Down yonder.
Louisiana internet. let me.
Well, while you're redoing that, I
reprompt
know
it.
Joshua, excuse me, also said that it's a good application for custom instructions as well, which I think you kind of mentioned, and I assume that's the custom instructions within the GPTs, or maybe they meant just gosh, I'm having a
Like an
my
ignition,
mind just
maybe.
went whoop. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to see if there's any other messages we can look at here.
Yeah, that actually kind of brings up an interesting question, Casey. If
Yeah.
this is probably getting deeper than we really need to, but like since you're training the language, it's a language model, right? You're training a language model. What if you tell it like you redefine a word, right? Like this isn't a mouse, it's a glibberty goop. And then you ask it, you send it a picture of a mouse, and is it going to say, "Oh, that's a glibberty goop," or would it be like, "Oh no, that's a mouse, moron"?
Glibberty. Reminds me of the Liberty Mutual commercials.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
I do not know.
Just
I've never tried that.
I haven't either.
Now you kind of want to like try to break it.
Yeah.
I don't want it to start thinking I'm messing with it though, and then it starts messing with me. It's
True.
like
And
it's,
You're
if
gonna
it
get your
takes over the
SQL
world,
table.
I want to
Yeah.
be on its good side. Okay.
Yeah.
Little judge.
If Skynet's going to come to
You
life.
say your please and thank yous.
I'm usually always nice. Or if I get a response that I like, I know you can give it like the thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever.
Yeah.
Or just whichever one it is. But I usually even just say like, hey, I really appreciate it, or
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was looking for, because I don't know. I mean, that's what somebody would do
Yeah.
in real life. I wouldn't
So
ask Jen for information
totally.
and then just be like, and walk away.
You
Close
know
the
what's
blank.
funny? There's definitely people I work with, and it's cultural that like you don't say thank you if you ask somebody to
Yeah.
give you something at work because it's their job.
Ooh,
You know, I can
Kind of
see that.
interesting, huh?
I
It,
respect
it
that. I
was
do.
interesting for me to kind of get around my head.
Yeah,
You
like the thanks is assumed,
know? Yeah.
Makes sense. It does.
Like I asked you for this
Yeah.
code. You gave me this
Yeah.
code.
Thank you for
Later.
performing your duty.
Transaction
Thank you.
complete.
You got paid for
Yeah.
that. Thank you.
Bye.
Like it's implied.
Ding. Like you got mail. Is it
All
working?
right.
Or is it being
I think
is it not behaving?
it's definitely been a little bit slower, but
That's okay, yeah.
let me see. I think it did. I'm trying to look at that script. Oh yeah, it did. Okay. Yeah. So here it optimized. Gave us the previous one. We didn't have a list comprehension, and then right here, it added using list comprehensions for efficiency, cache for view paths. So this is kind of an example of yeah, you can just paste existing code in here, and it will optimize, right? And then it'll give you the details of it, and obviously, you got to supervise it, right?
Yeah.
That it's solid, but I don't know, looks good to me. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of the optimizing existing script example. Let's see.
And then we have just a couple of things in the chat here. I'm going to put it on the
Mhm.
screen from Gage. Let's see what we got here. You guys looked into running a local LLM. Wow, that was really hard for me to say. And training it with proprietary data, i.e., Llama 2.0. Don't believe I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
neither.
I'm not of any assistance here, but
I've
have
definitely
you?
heard of that.
Okay.
But I've not dabbled in that. And the advantage to that, right, is it's on your local server, so you don't have to worry about
Right.
your data,
Right.
leaking or
Right.
so
More
whatnot.
data privacy. You're in control what happens to the data. There's no
Yeah.
question there. Yeah. I could
And
totally
then
see the value.
yeah, and then as for the version, so Nino is using the paid version, so he is on. It's the 4.0, right?
That's right.
Okay, just wanted to confirm. So yeah, the
Sometimes I
3.5 is the
switch to
free.
3.5.
Nino is
Yeah, because when you're paid, you
yeah.
have the option to use both. And
Yep.
sometimes the 3.5 is a little quicker. And honestly, because I think more people are using it, sometimes it gives you better responses to things that don't take like the extra,
Oh, interesting.
I don't know,
That is.
like context or need to search or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Because 4.0 can search the web as well to get its data rather than the information it's trained upon.
Okay.
That's an
And yeah,
interesting difference as well.
yeah, and again, we really appreciate everyone asking questions and everything like that too. It helps us make sure that we're actually reiterating and
Yeah.
giving you guys information that you need. So
Being
thank you
relevant.
again. Let's see.
So I'm gonna jump, kind of skip
Yeah.
some of these other ones, and 'cause I
Yep.
want to
Go right ahead.
show like the PLC use case,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then probably just jump into the GPT build because we're getting close to the hour.
Yeah. Yep.
So let me go ahead and show you Studio 5000. So here's an example from ladder logic, right? And with SCADA projects, sometimes we have to do tag discovery,
Hmm.
and I'm a noob with reading ladder logic, right? So I'll definitely take advantage of ChatGPT's abilities. And what you can do here is just copy the rung. So here, here's a rung of ladder logic, right? Kind of
Mhm.
got a lot going on with it.
Yeah.
And I just want to show you what it can do with reading ladder logic.
Yeah, I'm very
Yeah.
interested in this.
Me
And
too. Me too. Brennan and I both have
I was
controls
about to
backgrounds for
say,
PLCs. Yeah.
Yeah.
man, it's just so slow right now. Let's see.
This is making me remember being an intern going through
Oh man.
ACDs and converting things to XMLs and like well, let me
Yeah.
get this into an Excel spreadsheet so then I can get it back as
Yeah.
alarms.
I'd be curious too, like other use cases of being able to read, not just like, hey, I don't know how to read PLC code, help me understand what this rung is doing, but also like, let's say I need to convert from Mitsubishi to an Allen Bradley PLC. Can I feed it a
Yeah.
line of Mitsubishi code and be like, hey, give me the equivalent in, ladder
Yeah.
logic for an L8, let's say, like convert between manufacturers, because that's a very common use case for needing to learn PLC code.
Well, what I
Yeah.
would like to see is I would like to take that code from an Allen Bradley processor, feed it into this, and get it back out as some Python scripts so that I could put it into Ignition
Ooh.
and not need that PLC
Mm-hmm.
for my next iteration and save myself 10 grand. I worked for an employer that
Sassy.
liked to do that kind of thing. They're like, hey,
Yeah.
we're not going to spend money on PLCs. How about you make Ignition do it? Because we don't pay
Yeah.
anymore for every project that you put on Ignition. Like, I think I can do that.
Yeah.
Might take me a month. They're like, your time doesn't count. Okay.
It's
Oh man,
so look at
it's getting so slow right now.
Yeah, it's slow, but you
A lot
can
of people
kind of see
focusing
what's
on it.
going on though, right? It's breaking it
Yeah,
down, it's explaining what's happening.
it's normally a lot faster than this.
yeah. And while it's typing as slow as I probably I can type fast, but it's really thinking. That little hamster is just like.
Yeah.
I had
And
someone at work the other day say, pluck out the keys on the keyboard. I'm like, do you
oh
actually do
no.
that?
I mean, I've
Yeah.
taken all the
joking, right?
keycaps off to clean them and stuff, but not like that. But
So while it's
yeah.
taking this time right now, I want to kind of jump back to and get y'all thoughts on it. The use case, I haven't talked about it, but they also you have your custom GPTs, but you can also create what they call assistants. And this feature with the assistants, I think you have some more customize. You can customize the model more, but you can also pull it in to third-party applications with you get an API key, right?
Oh.
So that opens up a lot of solutions, right? And kind of just one case that I thought about, right, was if you would train an assistant or GPT, right, on
Mhm.
like Spark SCADA framework like that we have, right, on the perspective views and whatnot, and then you could bring that assistant into your Ignition application, and then create some kind of interface, right, where it would you could prompt it to create views for you, the users through the UI, and then
That'd be
it
cool.
would do that all in the back end, right? So you
Yeah.
wouldn't even have to touch the designer, right?
Very
Yeah.
cool
Just write it to the
Yeah.
folders.
Ooh.
I know that on the Ignition Exchange, there's actually a couple of items on there that integrate like a chat box type experience, you need the API key for it. But if anybody's interested in trying to actually integrate it into Ignition, there are some resources on the Ignition Exchange. If you literally just type in ChatGPT, they'll come up.
Yep.
Pretty sure Yuri did that a couple of years ago on
Yeah.
at the holiday challenge that we did. He
Oh.
made like a rap lyric integration with
Yes.
Ignition.
Yeah.
That was
Which that is
pretty
on
interesting.
YouTube.
See,
Yeah.
I'll have to watch that.
I forgot about that. Oh my goodness. It is really taking its sweet time, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it might be stuck, unfortunately.
That's so weird. And I've never
I
had
don't
it
know.
happen when I'm doing stuff, but
Yeah,
I also haven't been
don't know.
using custom GPTs. And when
Sure.
you were going over stuff, I don't remember seeing it be this
No, he's getting shy.
shy. Yeah,
It
it's
knows.
performance. It's like I don't want to. Those are all
Let's
watching
see.
it right now.
I'll go ahead and stop it and then regenerate and but we might could just skip to the GBT build.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is just
Yeah.
a tease, anyways.
So, well, let me
Yeah.
see if I got a previous one because I did actually run this test earlier, and I can just show you all
Do
the.
you want us? Do you need to look at it without us sharing it first, and then we bring it back up, or are you good? I wasn't sure if there's any
No, it's
data
you're
in it.
good.
Okay, just thought I would check.
Okay, so yeah, this was a previous one, so I was basically going to do the same script, right? The
Mhm.
same prompt. So this one, I did the same thing. Explain this wrong to me,
Mhm.
and it goes line by line, right? Gives you an
Yeah.
explanation, and it knows. Usually says Studio 5000, so I think it's aware of the format, and then gives you a summary of that. And then I asked it, can you optimize this rung for me, improve according to best practices? And it did, spit something back out. I don't know how optimized it is, right? But
Mhm.
it spit it back out. So it's another thing it can do, right? Pretty
Nice.
aware of ladder logic. All right.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and create a GPT. So this is GPT store. These are all
Mhm.
different GPTs that you can go through, look at. And right here, we're going to create a GPT. This
Oh.
is the GPT builder. You have
Okay.
this configure where you can kind of just take more manually kind of configure it. Add knowledge if you want to upload some files, put actions in here, and you can enable these capabilities. But we're going to just go to the create. This is the GPT builder, and then we'll prompt it, and we'll just give a simple one. So it's going to tell us, what would you like to make? We would like to make a plant identifier.
Jen's gonna drop, so
Okay.
we're gonna say bye to Jen.
Yeah. Sorry,
Bye,
guys.
Jen.
We got to go to another commitment. It's been great to
No,
chat
no,
with
you
you
are
guys,
good.
though. Take
Thanks for hanging
care.
out, Jen.
Bye, Jen.
Bye.
Been fun. All right, so now it's gonna just a simple prompt, right? And it's gonna
Yeah.
start training this custom GPT based on the information that we give it, and then in this area, it'll pop up, and then you can start testing.
What kind of
Okay.
plant are you trying
Brennan,
to identify?
Brennan
Are these
has
manufacturing plants?
yeah, you sent some good an
Oh
array
yeah, I
of
was going.
pictures of these different plants, right? So we'll bring up some of those, see how
I'll
good it is.
Over some.
send a couple too. I don't know if you'll need them, but just in case.
Oh no, okay, I thought it was stopping on us. All right.
Oh yeah, so let's see. We got a comment here.
Okay.
So it's good to know we can feed PLC around and get explanations because PLC program development models vary, or they can vary from one brand to another. Yeah, it would be extremely helpful, especially for those of us that I mean, I have only worked with people, I know this is like kind of random. I was just reading the comment that came in. I've worked with people that have done the ladder logic and whatnot with that sort of stuff. But like I, for one, don't know the difference between all the, the different brands. So for me, it would be extremely helpful.
Yeah, or translating from one to another
or
could be pretty helpful.
Translating. Yeah.
What do you got, Nina? What's this thing doing?
All right, so we've prompted or we trained it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just upload one. Let's see. We're coming up on the hour. Get it in real quick.
Where'd the data set come from? Does it just know this thing's a
So-
leafy thing? Let me go find it.
So this is, you know, I kind of think of like these custom GPTs, like the way we're doing it. It's really, you know, kind of like you're creating a query or a filter for the ChatGPT model, so that it gives you a more narrow kind of response, right? So that's really when you're creating that custom GPT, what it's doing.
Putting
right?
blinders on it, really.
There you go.
Saying, like,
Exactly.
don't go look at these things. Focus on these things.
Okay.
Exactly. And then
Focus on what's
so
in front of you.
we have this picture. We're gonna go ahead and upload. Please identify this plant, and let's see what it gives us. All right, so we got the flower in the image appears to form a plant commonly known as the wild plum or American plum.
Oh,
Is that right, Brennan? Casey?
I thought it was a cherry blossom. So maybe.
Oh, well,
It's a tree in my front yard, so we'll see if we get some plums off from it one of these years. It's pretty mature.
I had
and I'm
plums
pretty-
at my last house.
I'm
Yeah, I
pretty
don't.
sure it was little cherries, but maybe
could
they're
have
little
been.
plums.
There are different varieties of plums.
Neat.
Oh, look at it go.
Yeah, it's
gives
telling you a lot about it.
good information.
Now I'm curious if it tells me that a rose is a chrysanthemum or something.
Maybe it's possible.
Huh.
Yeah, and we didn't get to go into the other examples that I had, but I can just kind of rattle them off.
Yeah.
Ignition wise, you know, you can copy errors from the logs, paste those in. I do that regularly, just to see what it gets back, and I find that's helpful.
Yeah.
It's good with expression, the Ignition's expression language. I've used it with expression tags to help create some logic for expression tags. Let's see. Oh yeah, there is also this AI PDF. You can upload PDFs with this GPT, and you can basically upload almost any size you got. The limit's really big, and then you can query or ask it questions, right, about information within that PDF, and it'll give you real good, accurate responses.
I've done that with our local building codes because we have a garage apartment that we're building. It's pretty handy. I was like, here's the fixtures that I have. Like, I have a toilet, I have a shower, I have a sink here. Like, what size drains do I need and what size vents do I need? And it's like, here's a list of the things. It's like, I mean, probably as long as it took me to write it up and feed all that information into it, I could have gone and looked at it myself. But
right.
But that's really cool.
But if you got like a project that you have a technical spec, right, and you're trying to find information, right?
Yeah.
Save your time a lot like that.
Yeah.
And then let's see, last one that I had.
If there's anything else you need to show, you can.
One useful
go over
thing.
a few minutes if you need to.
Yeah.
You can. They have in the store they have if you get the paid version, go look in the store because there's a lot of useful GPTs. But one of them is this video summarizer. So like YouTube. If there's any kind of lecture or information that you're kind of learning from a YouTube video or whatever, you can just point at the URL and then it can summarize that for you, or you can exit information right based on that video. And so you can kind of use it as like, here's the video, and then you can start like almost like a conversation right with ChatGPT about that video, and then exit more information, right? So I find that's helpful too.
Interesting.
That's really cool,
You
especially
know,
maybe for somebody who actually produces and does content, online content like
uh-huh,
that. Possibly.
Well,
Yeah.
I was thinking is like when you're trying to learn calculus or something, right? Like
yeah.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
back
Oh,
to
or
like,
that. Yeah.
Exactly.
15 years ago when I was sitting there watching these people on YouTube like try to explain something, and I'm like, but what? Where did
Right.
the X come from?
Whoa.
How did
Exactly.
you get the big F? I don't.
Exactly. Uh,
Uh.
and the last thing I'll touch on, since we're kind of
Yeah.
at the end, kind of to go back to this, like this team workspace.
Hmm.
I think, for us internally, like on our Spark SCADA team, this I think I see, like, you know, as I was saying, like we have documentation like for the Spark SCADA framework, our solution that we use with our clients. Um, using custom GPT, and then feeding it all that documentation, as well as probably the application files, like I was saying, JSON views or whatnot,
Yeah.
and basically creating a custom GPT expert on our particular framework, our solution.
Mhm.
I mean, that could apply to any other companies' products or solutions they have.
Yeah.
But I could see big value in, we all use the same GPT, and for onboarding somebody, new coming on, or the real big benefit would be also if it's aware of your files, in your application,
That's what I was
and then
thinking.
you can ask it, hey, how do we optimize? Where are we weak at, right? If it could analyze
Mhm.
all of your whole framework, oh man, so yeah,
Yeah. Well,
there's a lot
think
of
about like
untapped potential.
you get a bunch of files from your customers when you start a
Mhm.
project, and it
Yeah.
would be very nice if it could index those files for you in a way where I can say, here's this PLC, or like here's a question I have, or is this in scope or something like that, and
Yep,
it can give
yep.
me a kickback. Because
Oh yeah,
this, looking at this, right,
that
20,
would be
like
Yeah.
awesome.
how much time do I spend looking for that stuff and talking about it and
Uh-huh.
arguing about it and well, whatever, and I mean $25 per person per month. If you're billing a customer at $150 an hour, what do I spend 15 minutes looking for an answer? This
Yeah,
just paid for itself.
yeah.
And we don't get any cutbacks from people signing up for this. Just
Oh no, not at all,
throw
not at
that
all.
out there.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
hoping my boss is listening to this and just heard what I said and
You
goes, oh
listening?
yeah, hey, it might save him 15 minutes every day. This
Yeah,
is a great investment.
I think in the
This is
future
really
this
cool.
will be like a standard
Oh
kind of
yeah,
workflow. Microsoft's
I
probably
bet.
going to have it
I'm sure
already
Microsoft's
as a
trying.
feature.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
And I know
hopefully
I
it's better
did
than
share the
Teams.
links for that. I know it's a little different on LinkedIn, but I did that and the enterprise um, a version, which that's a whole other thing. That's
Different
big
story.
boy ChatGPT. Yeah,
Big kid.
that's way more expensive, I'm sure. But yeah, just so at least if anyone's curious, they can click on that and go check it out. Um, and learn more.
Cool. Well,
Wow.
Yeah, is there anything else you wanted to show us before we end? I know we.
no, I'll stop it there.
Okay.
Don't want to acting slow, and this
Yeah,
definitely might have to have another stream to
I I think that would
finish it
probably
out.
be a good
We could
idea.
probably follow up on this. It'd be pretty neat to do another one of these in 6 months and see
Yeah. Oh yeah.
how we've
See how
used
it's
it
changed
differently,
or
how much better
yeah.
it's
We
gotten.
might have
Because they're
AGI
making
by then.
improvements every day, and
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
hopefully training these things better every once in a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
Well,
thanks,
I
Nina.
yeah,
Yeah.
we
Of
really
course.
appreciate you hanging out with us and showing what you were able to show, even though it was being
Yeah.
difficult because it was shy and
It's
nervous
just demos. That's how it goes.
always,
It's the nature of it.
right? But we appreciate everyone who has hung out with us. Wow,
Hey,
those are some that's a big picture. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, we appreciate everyone who hung out with us and took the time to submit questions and comments,
yeah,
anything
definitely.
like that. It
Yeah.
is
Thanks.
it is very much appreciated.
Thanks for the attendance and all my Louisiana audience out there.
Yeah,
Stephen and Paul. I saw y'all.
we appreciate it. Well,
All
until
right.
next time, and
See you later.
we'll see you later. Bye.